2.5, 1, and I think we're recording now, so I have to edit that. Welcome back to Tres Leches Radio. It's yours truly, Radimus. Gentlemen, let them know what's going on.
What it do, so the guy Rhythmatic, you know what I mean?
Yo, what up, people? BC, B-Stacks, and the place to be.
Oh, snap. So, what nobody realizes is the frustration we've been dealing with in the last 20 minutes. So normally our episode will be live, but we got Teddy Riley hard as hell. So for some reason the Zoom won't connect to Facebook. So here we are. But I think we were eventually moving this direction anyway. So we're just a few weeks early. But gentlemen, how you doing today? How you guys feeling minus the technical difficulties, frustration?
Oh, I'm feeling just quite dandy.
Hey, man. Oh, no, I had, I got to keep my t-shirt.
He's got a t-shirt for everything. I was waiting for it.
Every episode we do, man.
Damn.
They're great. I got so many group duo group t-shirts, so I had to pick one.
Damn, man. I'm over here with my little discount dollar lowercase v-neck, man. I'm just going to keep the camera right about here for now. All right. So, yeah, welcome back. This is episode 6. Today we're going to be talking about dynamic hip-hop duos. So the reason for today's episode is, what you guys don't realize is Tres Leches, the way we mastermind our episodes is we communicate through IG voice notes. That is the way we mastermind. That is the way we communicate. We talk about life, liberty, the pursuit of justice. We talk about everything in the voice notes. So I think what was it? It was maybe like last Friday. It might have been like 1 o'clock in the morning, right? That's how you know we don't have kids. So, and we were just talking about like groups and duos, and we were just like Tribe Called Quest, Outkast, and we just got into this really long debate with just differing opinions. So I said, we had another episode planned for today that we'll do probably in the future, so I don't want to give it away. So I just threw it out there. I said, hey, we got all this energy going on right now. Let's just package it as an episode. So it just led to us talking about duos.
And that's an ad. Shout out to Jamil, because this really came from him when he posed the question, which,
Oh, wait, what did he say?
Oh, yeah, he just said
he texted me. Oh, no, you know what? He actually called me. So we're talking, and he was like, yo, man, I want to post this on Facebook, but, I don't post like that. I don't do social media like that. So I want you to do it. I'm like, what do you do? He's like, yo, I want you to post on there. Like, yeah, who's messing with Outkast? What other duos messing with Outkast? Outkast is the ultimate duo. He's like, name me one duo better than Outkast. Like, you can't name me none.
Oh, he's got another shirt.
I didn't do that. It didn't happen.
That was the Ghost of Prodigy that just held that up.
So this is how this episode came to be. And so shout out to Jamil.
Jamil, thank you.
You know what I mean? But yeah.
Jamil Knight.
Jamil, Mr. Oh no, oh yes. He was what I was talking about. That is the funniest thing ever. You had to be there. That was it. I forgot about that it came from Jamil, but so here we are. So Jamil, thank you, because we got a lot to talk about tonight. So shuffling my notes here. So when we're qualifying hip hop duos, we were saying, okay, what are the variations that constitute a hip hop duo, right? So the qualifiers, especially for tonight's episode, is one rapper, one producer who may or may not rap. So, think of Gangstar, Pete Rock, CL Smooth, Eric B and Rakim. And then there's the two rappers duo. And they may or may not produce their own music. So that could be Clips, EPMD, Redman, Method Man, Bad Meets Evil, right? So just giving you guys points of reference.
Well, no, remember Eric produced.
No, that's what I'm saying. I know. Well, both of them are credited as producers. Yeah. No, I may have just said that in the wrong order. But yeah. What I'm saying is they rap and produce their own material.
Gotcha. Yeah. And then one other thing too to remind for the listeners that we're doing duels strictly based off official albums. So unfortunately, like Snoop and Dre, Nas AZ, Ghost and Ray, while they freaking collaborators, now had a quote unquote official album. So we're not considering them, in most of the discussion, at least for today.
I'm glad you mentioned that. They would have blew up our comments and be like, yo, because I thought about Snoop and Dre too, especially just with like Chronic and Doggy Style. So that's how we're qualifying it. That's like what we kind of discussed and agreed on. So to kind of just kick it off properly, we wanted to talk about first the GOAT duos, right? There's a bunch of duos, right? We're fans of different duos. So I'll throw it out to Brandon because like I'm thinking of the voice notes and we were having a lot of banter there. So when you think of GOAT duos, what's the first one? You may have actually given us some previews already with your attire. GOAT duo, who gets your vote?
Well, and I'm talking to hip hop here, the fans and stuff. They told me I couldn't use a Tribe Called Quest. So, because that is the GOAT duo. They're a rapping duo, but I get it. There's other people involved.
He said, he said, what does he do?
I'm sorry, man. At least Shaheed and Jerobi, y'all don't do nothing.
Like, Jerobi, you're a chef now.
Yo, Ali Shaheed's gonna come after you for your disrespectful remarks.
I know. I can't disrespect the guys, man. But if I can't pick Tribe, and I want to give a big shout out to Run and DMC, for Run DMC. But technically, they don't fall in line either because they had Jam Master Jay.
Rest in peace.
So if I gotta go with like the person that sticks out for me, man, and we all are Outkast fans here. We all understand their importance. Like, that ain't the answer tonight, bro.
Oh, he went left. You thought he was going there. He didn't do it. He didn't hold up the shirt.
Nope. And I got to go with Eric B. and Rakim, man. To me, that is the GOAT duo. I had some time to kind of think about this and go through my notes and fish through my years and history and knowledge and stuff. And yeah, man, I kind of was like mad at myself for not even like thinking about Rod earlier in our voice notes. You know what I'm saying? So to me, I think Eric B. and Rakim really changed the guard of like where rap is today. As far as like that DJ rapper, a duet, in the dynamic form. And Rakim, he's birthed like countless rhyme syndicates, you know what I'm saying, in many forms.
Yeah.
So I got to go with those two, man. It was tough, but I think they will be, to me, like, I'm cool with saying them and being all right.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And what I like about that choice is, when I was doing the research, I thought the same thing. I was like, how the hell did we were like so focused on the other ones, And
right.
I had them listed as one of the choices, And right. what I loved about Rakim, and I don't know what I was watching, especially with flow. Rakim said he wanted to do with flow what jazz musicians do with instruments. I've never heard a rapper. I've heard flow described in many different ways. But when he said that, I thought that was like the best way to describe flow and what he did with it. You know what I'm saying? Right. So right. I love that. I think Paid in Full. Obviously, I think as a duo, Eric B. and Rakim went 4 for 4. I think they did not miss on any albums. Absolutely. I know it was like label issues and stuff that kind of that stalled them out after the fourth one. But I genuinely believe, like, you know how hard it is to, whether you're a solo act, a group, or whatever, to go 4 for 4, and they did that. They did it. Paid in Full, I feel like, is their Illmatic too. I think that album is absolutely no skips. I love that choice. Renz, I don't know if you wanted to add or you want to throw yours out.
I'll add on and mention like what the jazz, like, and more in particular, John Coltrane is what he wanted to emulate, but in an MC standard. He wanted to say, how can I project myself the way John Coltrane projects, when he does, his thing on the jazz tip. And when I remember reading that interview, I'm like, that's deep. You usually hear, well, such and such artist, but usually like another, lyricist, poet, or whatever, but actually hearing that he's talking about he wanted to emulate somebody playing an instrument as far as how he wanted to project his rhyme scheme, to me was, this very, deep and profound, insight. You know what I'm saying?
That's
the God MC, baby.
Yeah, definitely.
The actual God MC, not you, Jay-Z.
Right.
The God.
Right.
You know what I mean? No false idols here. And you know what, Brad? I'm happy you said that because I feel more comfortable now. In the sense that I feel like, well, no, because
you welcome.
And I think that was one thing I was thinking about coming into this episode, to make sure that we had the 80s represented. because it's so easy, like we'll get caught up in the golden era, phase where we kind of forget, the 80s, the forefathers who actually kind of paved the way for what would have been, to me, the best era of hip hop, at that point. So I was juggling between.
Hey, yo.
What? Yeah. Oh. But with that note, I will go Outkast. And to me, it was between Outkast and what Brandon has on EPMD. But I'm going to ultimately give it to Outkast just because I think, as far as that catalog, I'm not counting Idlewood, because to me that's more of the soundtrack. Yeah. I think they were pretty much perfect. I don't think they really had any duds. You might have said, hey, one album might have been not as strong as the other one, but you can't really say they ever came out with a whack album, period. I look at it on the perspective, especially then, when they first came out in 94, we didn't expect anybody from the South to really spit the way they were spitting lyrically. Like, you had Scarface, you had UGK, you had 8-Ball MJG, and so forth. But as far as just the straight lyricism, you weren't really expecting that from the South. And that was ignorance on our behalf, Yeah. And when Dre got up on there, he said, the South got something to say, he meant it, because you look at every single album and how they develop as artists. And them being one of the first acts to show that, you don't have to be hardcore, you don't have to be gangster. Like, he started wearing, the dashikis. He started wearing other stuff that we would all call weird. Like, oh, why is Dre acting like this?
You thought he was weird before Erykah Badu.
Yeah. So
yo, I think you got Andre right there in your lap with the blonde hair.
Excuse me. Don't disrespect Willow here.
Oh, snap.
But
Willow 3000.
But what was refreshing about Outkast is that, while you had Big Boy kind of still stay in his lane, like, I'm gonna hit you with these pimp flows and the Georgia stuff, Andre's trying to more experiment. What is truly the Black experience? You know what I mean? Do I have to act a certain way to be considered Black? I remember, on the first album, on the gangster track, on the first one, you're like, oh, they think I'm gay, they think I'm this because I'm not acting quote unquote Black now. So to me, they kind of tested the limits musically and socially, where we now today, you have artists, for better or worse, being themselves, at that point. And I think
they tend to credit that to like other people, and it's like, yeah, Outkast, especially Andre, was doing that like way before. They try to credit that unique stuff to, like, I feel like more modern people. I'm like, y'all just dying to rewrite history.
Yeah, because you'll hear people talk about, oh, well, it was Lil Wayne that did this, made me feel free, and Ultimate. It's like, no, that was Outkast, and they got that from the funk forefathers like George Clinton, Bootsy Collins, who said, we're just gonna do our thing. We're gonna have a good old time, and that's that. You know what I mean? And that's what I think was very unique about Outkast, because they weren't afraid to go to the different lanes. But at the same time, 3 Stacks told you I can get down, but if I want to vibe out, if I want to just smell the roses, I can do that and still be masculine about that. And I think that was good for the culture at that point, because we know how my ultra machismo it can get, and I think they kind of loosened up, saying, hey, you don't have to act all like this all the time. You don't have to say you want to stop somebody else. Hey, we might just want to just wild out and party. We might just want to chill. We might want to just look at the stars and see what's going on.
They lived up to their name, Outkast.
Yeah, exactly.
DynaMIC.
All right, I love those choices, man. You know what? I had a couple of choices here. I'm gonna throw out Gangstar. I think that belongs in that GOAT conversation.
Definitely.
There are another ones that they have no whack albums. They started in the late 80s. All right, they have, God bless the dead. If Guru was still alive, 2, if Gangstar had still been on good terms, they have records that they can keep performing. Like even now, if everything in an alternate reality, both of them alive, getting along, you have a top 5 producer in DJ Premier. All right, at the on the Wheels of Steel. Shout out to Outkast right there, if you guys caught that one. You know what I'm saying? The way he manipulated samples, whether it was jazz-based or even just the vocals or how he scratches stuff in there, that's all music. The way he can find an obscure sample like Mass Appeal, he found that on I forget what the original was. That's like a 2-second clip on the original that's at a faster tempo. He took that and turned it into Mass Appeal. And there's other elements in there. You know, so like I said, with Gangstar, you have a top 10 producer. Guru was never anointed as like a wordsmith, but his best work, I know he had his Jazzmatazz albums that were outside of Gangstar, but his best work was with DJ Premier. Them two seem to just brought the best out of each other. I think a lot of their best material is with each other, because right, I know Primo has produced for countless acts, but like this DJ Premier, Drake even had Premier produce on one of his albums. So you know what I'm saying? Like, so Premier, and I'm focusing on Primo a lot. He just like his the testament to his sound is that if you get that Premier produced track on your album, you've arrived. And I feel like
that's a gold standard.
It's a gold standard, yeah. And you know what? And like I'm not the biggest Drake fan, but the fact that even he knew he had to reach out to Primo, that says something to people who tend to like stomp on East Coast hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, they didn't miss. I like that they stayed. They evolved their sound, but they never alienated it. And that's a big deal. And I think that's something that's missing with a lot. Like, I think everybody does the same sound these days. Whereas when they had their platform, they had that hardcore hip hop sound with those jazz elements. But throughout their career, they were able to just maintain that lane and always be critically acclaimed for it. They're another group that they definitely didn't stretch the boundaries like an Outkast, but they did what they did, and they did it well. So
they mastered it.
They did it with sound. Yeah. I mean, that run was crazy, man. You talking about 89 to like 06? Like, hey, that's 3 different gens right there.
Yo, and the fact that they have, and you know what? That full clip, I always tell it, I was like, anybody who, if you want to start with Gangstar, like, yo, what album should I start with? Honestly, I always point them to Full Clip because it's a double album, and it really, they have that much heat, and you even get unreleased at that time tracks on there. Like the Full Clip song was new to their Big L, rest in peace. So so if we're talking like duos, like who belongs at that GOAT duo table, I agree with all 3 of our choices.
Yeah, Gangstar, for sure, man.
And let me ask you gentlemen this, and there's something that's really popped in my head literally probably maybe late last night. So to our duels, of course, we have more like the producer DJ / MC aspect. Now, when we Gangstar example, we can look at even like K.R.I.T and CL Smooth. It seemed like a lot of those type MC DJ duels, a lot of their breakups, where I think us as fans start favoring, let's say in this case here, okay, we really wanted to say, hey, this is more K.R.I.T, or hey, this is more Primo, where you saw how in the later years that kind of bothered somebody like Guru, you know, where, you know, when we started associating that duel with now the producer first at certain times and kind of forgetting the greatness of the MC, because now, oh, you hear a new Primo track and it's like, oh, this is Gangstar, you know what I mean? But now the rapper who's kind of the lead is almost kind of taking the back seat, because when you saw the tensions with them, and even with K.R.I.T CL Smooth to this day, you know, where
now or then?
A lot of tension. Well, K.R.I.T now, even now, because I remember CL Smooth was in an interview, so coming at K.R.I.T like, yo, we're not together, even though they had that reunion tour, but it's like, we're not making no music, and and it seemed like they're just so off the page, where he feels like an entitlement, deal.
Yeah, well, and the same thing is happening with Knife Wonder and Little Brother right now. That's why you didn't see Knife Wonder. But I think maybe like the industry really forgot about the producer, though. You know what I mean? Where like the fans were championing the rapper, but I think the industry forgot about the importance of the producer. So I'm always going to favorite the producer / DJ personally.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
And I think the producer stock with a lot of tends to rise more. They have a more technical role. So like K.R.I.T and CL Smooth ending didn't stop K.R.I.T. If anything, you know what I mean? Like, because he was a producer, I felt like he was able to have more gigs, so to speak, than like CL Smooth. That's just one example, whatever.
Yeah,
and what's interesting is when you look at the origins of hip hop, the DJ was the focal point. You know? Right. And now, and then it became the other way around. And then in these situations, it's almost like going back to how it started.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the irony with it.
Right.
Yeah, because the producers can usually leave and still do their thing. Because we obviously see with K.R.I.T, we've seen it with Primo. the artist, like Guru to a degree, yeah, but like CL Smooth, like you're not really hearing anything, or if you do, the first thing you're thinking like, well, it's not the same. There's no Pete Rock. I don't want to deal with it. You know what I mean? Even Little Brother for a while up until the last album. Because after Ninth left, the first couple albums was like, like the direction wasn't there. But now they kind of got that direction to feel, you know, without Ninth. But a lot of times once that producer leaves, they can survive, but like the actual MC has a hard time surviving.
Yeah, that's a testament to chemistry. You know what I mean? Like you were happy to hear from Little Brother, but you know that like the chemistry they had with Ninth, that just something extra happens there, something with just who they are. You know. All right, so you know what? So now that we've given flowers to the GOATs, we're gonna switch it up a little bit. Who do you guys feel are an upcoming duo over the last, you know, X amount of years that are moving at a rate that you guys like, that are producing, you know, enough where you feel like, you know, I was like, they're onto something, that they're having a little bit of a run, whether it's indie, mainstream, like who are maybe the names that people aren't as familiar with? And whoever
I'll kick it off then.
Yeah.
I won't keep it with the producer MC aspects. I'm gonna go with Freddie Gibbs and Madlib.
Oh, you took mine.
You know?
Oh,
nice.
nice.
I had a backup, but you know what I mean. But I'm going with them because I think honestly, out of all the different sets that we've been seeing over the years, I think this is honestly the most not only organic but almost a real bromance between the two. You know, like I remember when Freddie met Madlib was just saying, you know what, I don't really know much about you, but you told him he's his top 10 MC. Just off the work Gibbs they already did. So I like you lyrically, whatever.
So are you saying just Madlib and Gibbs, or Madlib him like being with other rappers?
I'm talking about Madlib and Gibbs right now.
Okay, all right.
Mad Gibbs.
Gibbs. So, and I remember initially when they got together, Gibbs said, you know, he's the first producer that really challenged me to rap. So I know how to rap, but he challenged me to do different beats and stuff that was not I'm accustomed to. So I remember when they were supposed to get together for Pinata, I was like, you know, this is kind of an odd pairing. Like I knew Gibbs can get down on different style beats, but when I first saw Gibbs and Madlib, I'm like, this is probably not gonna be a good fit. But then I'm hearing Pinata, and I'm like, I'm mind blown. You know, that's how he was able to master every beat that Madlib threw at him, and that chemistry, and general chemistry, genuine. You know, on interviews when Madlib came in, I think with Ebro, and he didn't know Madlib was coming, him just breaking down in tears because he's like, oh, this is my brother right here, you know, I love him, like this guy saved my life, you know, and just seeing that genuine love that they have for each other is beyond a business relationship. You know what I mean? It's actually having fun with it, and you can hear it in the music, and then even with the, you know, the latest album, you know, just hearing the growth of them. And I'm curious to see how far they can, you know, can take it, because, you know, I remember a lot of people complaining initially, oh, well, this is not like, you know, Madlib and Doom. And I'm like, dude, like, get over that. Like, Doom and Madlib said we had more material. Doom don't want to put it out. So it's like, it is what it is. You know what I mean? And here's what we have right now. And I'm like, and this is something special here, you know. And I'm just want to see how far they can, you know, take it to the limits. Because I think the sky's the limit between them two, you know, as long as they keep the momentum going.
You know, and my first time really hearing Freddie was with Madlib, because I'm a Madlib fan. Mm-hmm. I wasn't really a Freddie Gibbs fan. You know what I mean? So I was coming on the other side of the camp. And like, to give Madlib credit, like, I mean, he's done, for the people that don't know, like, he's done albums with Jay Dilla, like J-Lib, they got a joint together, which is a classic. He's done shit with Exile. You know, he's done stuff with Doom, like you said before. He's always done these, you know, duet kind of situations. But I think the Gibbs one is like, that really kind of stuck as like his probably most formidable pair.
Yeah.
The Pinata and the Bandana are like two of some of the best albums I've heard in the last few years. And I mean, honestly, I'm kind of spoiled now, because I feel that, like, I've even heard the recent Freddie Gibbs, which was Alfredo, and it's not a bad album, but because of the standard set with him and Madlib, I feel like I only want him rapping over Madlib beats like all the time. Yeah. Like that's what's satisfying to my ear completely. The samples they use, and just Freddie Gibbs is necessary in an era where you don't really have artists like him thriving. You know what I mean? He's somebody that he would have done well in the 90s. Go ahead, Brandon.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, even his joint with Talib, the Liberation EP, you know, Black Star had signed him on. I mean, to this day, they say Madlib got 11 Black Star records that was supposed to come out last year. Yeah. So like, you know, people are on pulse with him, but it's just, you know, it's how these things happen, man. Timing, you know, whatever, luck. Freddie Gibbs was the one that like the one artist where he snuck through the cracks and they were actually able to finish the project.
Got through the
label that
stuff.
I think they kind of satisfied both, you know, lanes where you had the ultra maybe backpackers, quote unquote, you know, hardcore underground, and then people who wanted more, some of the more, okay, I don't want to hear about the signs. I wanted to hear some, you know, some gangsta, maybe some rapid time flow. And I think it was a good, you know, bridge, you know, and a perfect marriage in a sense. I think you kind of satisfy both crowds, you know, in a way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love that pairing. So I'll jump to mine. It's not really much because I'll be honest. I felt like I'm not familiar with a lot of modern day duos, or that when I heard them, I was like, you know, they're cool, but they're like maybe they're not great. Maybe it's my age showing or whatever. But for like my upcoming duo, I went with Earth Gang. They're signed to J. Cole's Dreamville. Now there was a tweet that went out like a few years ago where they let anything go viral. Like somebody was saying that they're like the new Outkast. I wouldn't classify them as Outkast. I think that's just too high a standard. But what they do have, their last album was last year, and it was called Mirrorland. And what I like about them is you can get the rapping and the singing. Maybe that's why people thought of Outkast. They're a duo. They're from Atlanta. Like the best song that I enjoyed from their last album was called Swivel. You know, you get a little bit of you get a little bit of everything there. They sound a little bit like Right Now. Take that for what you will sonically, but then there's a little bit of experimental there with their sound. So their last album again was called Mirrorland. I would just say to anybody watching, give that album a spin. To, you know, see if you agree or disagree. But I think I'm still checking for them. They're one of the few groups where I'm like, okay, I was like, I'm willing to see how you'll evolve if this is where you are right now. And it seems like they're still ascending, and they got a good situation set up now at Dreamville. So I think, you know what? They're signed to J. Cole, and they have sonically they pick better beats than J. Cole. Now they don't make the same kind of music, but I think he may have a diamond in the rough there on the label. So I'm gonna go with Earth Gang. So Brandon, I know you said you were gonna go with the Mad Gibbs, so I don't know if you got a backup.
Yeah. So my duo was like not like fresh and new, but they ain't Eric and Rakim old. So I'm gonna go with Blue and Exile. You know, the duo from the left coast, and Blue is just like a severely underrated rapper. You know, he got one of the illest deliveries. I feel like he's like a West Coast Q-tip, if I could like give him a description. And they definitely got a classic album like Below the Heavens. Check that out if y'all don't know what that is. That kind of revived like, you know, quintessential like hip hop in the mid 2000s, and they brought it back a couple more times too. And, they got 2 more releases. I think the second one is Give Me My Flowers While I'm Still Here, something in that order. I really like that album. And then they brought out another EP. They brought out Above the Heavens, and then they brought out another EP a few years ago. So again, like Exile, would I really listen to Exile without Blue? Not really. I'm more of a Blue fan than I am an Exile fan. But I think that they like together, I like both of them together more than anything. You know what I mean? Which kind of like passes that test for like, all right, you well.
Yeah. And actually, they just came out with an album, Miles. The Miles album just came out, I think, 2-3 weeks ago?
Yeah, that's got some joints on it, definitely.
Yeah. I haven't heard that yet. But yeah, man, definitely fucks with Blue and Exile both, man. They both rapping from the beginning. And Exile, even before he even got with Blue, like his resume is long.
Yeah, with Aloe Black especially. Yeah.
Yep.
Yo, my intro, ironically, my intro to both Blue and Exile was Below the Heavens. Like for no reason at all. That one came out like in 07. I just pressed play on it for no reason at all. And I was just like, whoa, like just, oh my God. Like he was like, we're not yet abused by time. Like that album, classic. That was a classic album. That's one of those where it's just like, man, you're happy it came out in that era, because you know how I feel about 2006 and on. But it's like, yo, had that album came out in an era that would have appreciated it, he would have did digits. You know, he would have been more well known.
Right. And funny story, you know, Blue is kind of like a renegade in sorts. He kind of had his hand on some Madlib beats, and then he put his own album out called UCLA, which is a dope ass title for an album. You know what I mean? From Cali, and Madlib was like, "Hey, bro, this is unregistered."
I didn't know that. I didn't know that happened. Oh wow.
Yo, let me tell you, it was like 6 songs, but you Jones was fire. If you downloaded it and you got it, bro. But like Madlib put out a cease and desist, like, nah, Blue, you can't sell this product.
Damn, man.
And then force him to do a group album with them.
Right. You should have ignited him.
Somebody got hung over the ledge for this, right? All right, okay, so let's transition a little bit here. All right, so we've spoken about the acts, the talent, past, present. So now, when it comes to GOAT duo albums, okay, what would you guys qualify as, again, like that conversation, like what are the GOAT duo albums that can be at the table with the GOATs? I don't know, Renz, if you want to go first on that one for your GOAT duo album choice.
All right, and so I was going through some albums in the last week or so, but it goes back to who I listed as, you know, the GOAT duo for me. You know, and I'm gonna go with Aquemini, Outkast, and it's just weird because like that album came out in '98, but sonically, especially when we look at it now in 2020, sonically that album was just so much ahead of its time as far as how it sounds. You know, and the fact that you can play it now and it doesn't sound outdated at all. Some of those beats can still probably be used for today's standards, and you were like, oh, what is it? You know what I mean? And that's just a testament to organized noise.
That's your favorite Outkast album, huh?
I would probably. That's
mine. That's my favorite Outkast album.
I had trouble identifying one. Go ahead. I'll let you go ahead.
Yeah, and it's funny because I was listening to some of the earlier ones the other week between Southern Cadillac and ATLians. Yeah. But I just felt that one. I just felt like the maturity was there, and I felt like unlike ATLians, where now you have Dre now quote unquote in a different mode and mindset. It kind of threw people off. Where now you kind of know where he's standing, and now he's trying to say, hey, I do this, but I can still get down like this. You know, so I felt like there was a balance on that album where, you know, where he's just saying, hey, just because I look on me, I'm projecting this or whatever, is just that I'm free and I'm liberated now. Like, we don't have to be stereotypical. And that's kind of what I got from that album overall. You know, and this whole vibe, you know, it was just something different, you know, and I just think that to me that was their high point. You know, not saying they had a low point, but their high point, you know, overall, where, you know, if you said, hey, what's kind of best for like a dual album to assemble or use as a blueprint, I'll probably put to that album first, you know, because I think the beats were very polished at that point, because I think everybody matured and kind of said, hey, here's our sound that we're going to move forward as a unit.
Yeah, man. Return of the G. What is the Spodio di Dopalicious? Skew It on the Barbie, which is probably home to my favorite Raekwon verse ever. My God, like, yeah, I love that choice. That's also my favorite Outkast album.
And on top of that, they bought the East Coast too, though. Because remember, nobody was messing with the South. They bought Raekwon. They bought the Woo. They bought Slick Rick. So, you know,
street talking, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, especially during that time, Woo wasn't really messing with outside camps like that. I mean, you had Nas and stuff for them to go outside the camp, but go down to the South. You know what I mean? And have them show, hey, we can spit just like you guys, and get that respect. You know, to me, that was monumental within itself. You know, especially during that time period.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna just raise the flag right here. You know what I'm saying?
I knew that's something.
Yeah, MOBB. Oh man.
Queens is in the building. You know what I mean?
This was part of the voice notes.
You know what I'm saying? Done. Keeping it real.
You got the Dunny language already? I think I just heard Armand scream.
right. Armand is a stand. The best. So this is part of our like discourse on IG before we brought this to the table. Like this is the best album from any group. You know what I'm saying? Wu-Tang 36 Chambers. What up? You know what I'm saying? The infamous Mobb Deep was like crack on sound. Like, you know what I'm saying? You had to be around to experience it. Like Mobb Deep just had a sound where it was just like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm not messing with them, bro. Like,
am I gonna be alive at the end of this album? Like,
right. I mean, it just sounded like the street, going in the subway. Kudos to Havoc, doesn't get talked about enough as a producer and got better as a rapper later on. And, Prodigy as like basically a prodigy, like you look up the definition of a prodigy, Albert, real name, he fit that mold.
Yeah.
And, in the 90s, man, it was Nas, Biggie, Mobb Deep, and Wolf. Like that was it. You know what I'm saying? And
like the East Coast Renaissance right there,
That was it. Jay had his run a little later. Mobb Deep was just so infectious and influential. I like almost all their albums from that catalog, but the infamous is the one. That's the diamond. You know what I mean? And there's no just hit play. You know what I mean? No skip.
Yeah.
And you know what? When you had mentioned it, when you first threw it out there, that you were like, "Yo, this is the best." It was funny. I thought I would have like another one. I'm like, "Oh, but what about this? What about that?" And then, like, I'm talking like even since that day, for the past week, and I think I even said to Renzo, I was just like, "Yo, I think Brandon really hit it on the head with that one." I think that album is that good, and I listened to it like my brother played it around me, but I like when you listen with older ears, it's different. And with that album, I like how you described it because it's like if Queensbridge had the region had a conscious that could communicate, the voice was that album. The voice was vocally it was that album. I think that's one of the most masterfully produced albums. There's just some albums that are masterfully produced. That is one of them. What's it called? And that was Havoc on most of it, I think, except Q-Tip did like Drink the Pain Away.
Yeah, Drink the Pain Away.
But Temperatures Rising, oh my God. Like some people just know Shook Ones Part 2 and that's it. And it's just, no, man, Cradle to Grave, no, man. Survival of the Fittest.
Yeah, Up North Trip has been my favorite song in the last couple of years. But yeah, man, I mean, if anybody don't know about Mobb Deep, hit up on it, infamous. And, I love all these groups, EPMD, Outkast. I truly believe in my heart that infamous, nobody has infamous. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, and when you posed the question of Mobb Deep versus, I think you said Outkast might be like a GOAT duo, but Outkast doesn't have an infamous. And at first it sounds crazy to hear that, but like I love Aquemini. Like that's my favorite, and I'm thinking to myself,
it don't move me like the infamous thing.
And I think I'm leaning to what you said. I was like, I think that I don't think they have an infamous, which is weird to say that they don't have something is like weird, right? But I think the infamous might have the edge over all the Outkast albums. We're gonna totally get jumped in the lobby after this, but
I know. We're gonna get killed in the DMs.
But you know what? So to round this off, I would, from my GOAT duo album, it was kind of mentioned before. I went with Paid in Full. So we were talking about Eric B and Rakim earlier. And again, that's an album that I think what all these albums have in common, there's no skips. All right. I think even to this, I think it's aged well. And what's interesting is, think about it. It came out in the late 80s. So I've heard other albums that came out after it, and I got to that album later on in life. The amount of lines that rappers have sampled or said themselves in albums that we grew up with in the 90s have come from that album. About the most infamous, I wake you up and there's a stare in your face, you seem stunned. I'm not gonna ruin the mystique of that one. You know where that one was used.
Oh yeah.
you know.
Absolutely.
But yeah, like I just think, and I believe that Rakim actually had a little bit more involvement with the production than noted. Like I don't think it was just strictly Eric B. I think like that was a topic that came up like over the years.
Yeah.
But I think that it's like, you know, it's just 10 tracks. It's perfect. Like I said, I think it's like Illmatic of the 80s.
Yep,
And,
my melody.
Oh my, check out my. I know you got soul. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Eric B for president.
I know you. It's like I ain't no joke. Oh my, like starting off that album, I ain't no joke. Is what is Naughty by Nature's Joker.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
I think that's
really
what,
is.
Damn, see, even the doorbell agrees with me. They said, "Yo, church." So I'm going.
Say louder for the back.
Yeah, exactly. So my choice for that GOAT duo album at that table is Paid in Full. See, I had to do it for the church bells again. So.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, salute that pick for sure.
Yeah. All right, so then those were our GOAT. I don't know what the hell I just said. GOAT duo albums.
GOAT duo albums.
Okay, so now let's just we'll switch it up. What are some of the underappreciated duo albums? And you know what? I'll start with this one. I think I told you guys what I was gonna say already. Underappreciated duo album. It would not sit right with my soul if I did not mention the Beatnuts, A Musical Massacre. It don't get talked about enough. I know sometimes I get Ray voted for that album because it's Hispanics. That's one thing I get all the time. Like I'm a big Pun fan only because of Hispanic. If that's the case, I would have been the biggest Puerto Rock fan who I did not like at all. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, so no, man, A Musical Massacre number one. If you guys, if anybody listening to this, if the Beatnuts is not ringing a bell, remember Off the Books, you better watch your step. That's them. But A Musical Massacre was the watch out now. That song was everywhere that summer, '99. That's another album, top to bottom, banger. They fit the mold of they're two rappers and producers because they both produce. It's Juju and Psycho Les. They've done work for other people. Juju did One for Ghostface's Supreme Clientele. But with this album, they even end the album with a song in Spanish called Se Acabó. If you play that, make sure your headphones are in because the first 5 seconds are a little bit gratuitous. So I don't know if you guys remember how that song starts. Yeah, okay. Yeah. But I just think that album doesn't get talked about enough. I don't know if it was because they didn't have the label backing or whatnot, but they always worked with TS. They always have like a banger with Tony Touch on there, and that to me
Jones too.
Yeah, exactly. So my underappreciated duo album that like if there's anything to take away from this episode, listen to an album. My choice, A Musical Massacre, came out August '99. Psycho Les, Juju, the Beatnuts.
Yeah, and they're such a great duo, like you said, they get overlooked a lot. I mean, like I said, even in the voice messages, like between that and then No Escaping This to me was such a good back-to-back, run for them. And their production's always been underrated. And there's very good live performers. It's funny because they get the stigma of they're only the quote unquote party rappers, but they get busy.
They did a song with Dead Prez. They said every time I look around. Yeah. Dead
Prez, Common. They
Slam Pit.
So they definitely got busy. I mean, they were on Loud, but I think they were one of the few groups that kind of got lost in the shuffle. Quote unquote, on there. I mean, they were kind of they were like this, the little brother to Def Jam during that time frame, Loud Records. Yeah. You look at they had Mobb Deep, they had Pun, they had
Exhibit. They had 3-6, I think too. Yeah.
They had 3-6. Yeah.
Beatnuts repping Queens, Corona Queens.
Yeah, so that was definitely a good group.
For me, while Zoe was beating his dog.
Whoa.
Damn, Peter or Petta's gonna call us.
I'll go my pick, and this is probably I feel like they're not talked about enough, but it's weird because they're mega popular. I'm gonna go Red and Method Man. I just feel like they fit so well together. People they're like a peanut butter jelly sandwich, right?
Mm-hmm.
Follow me here.
No, I was about to say the same thing you said. No, you're right.
You in school getting your lunch and you see the peanut butter jelly sandwich, you're like, I'm gonna go for this cheesesteak, I'm gonna go for this hoagie, and you a hot dog, you get it. and you keep skipping the peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You're like, why am I skipping this? Because it just goes so well together. You know what I mean? It's just so good. You forget that it's there.
There's they have wild chemistry, man. Even in movies, but yeah, both those Blackout albums, the collabos they did before that, you know, like just leading up to that. It's funny because I think some people thought Redman was part of Wu-Tang because of his often affiliation with the Wu and Method Man. You know, and I think there's supposed to be a Blackout 3. They don't release them like every year. You know,
they spoke on it. I think one of the shows that me and Brandon saw, I think it was a TLA show that we saw then, and they spoke on it then.
Incredible live.
But that might have been. Oh, they might be the best live as far as duels. They might be the best live duel performance.
Incredible, man.
You know, especially Redman. You know, and it's funny because Method Man even said like, "Yo, I wasn't a good live performer until I got with Redman. I didn't know what it took as far as being an artist performing live." Where he said, I took stuff from Redman and brought back to Wu. You know, at that point. So we can prove as a proof. And I can prove, you know, the hang with them. You know what I mean? But yeah, definitely.
And, you know, and shout out to Black Star. They were next on my board, but y'all got to come out more than 1 hour. So.
Yeah.
All right.
So you're up next, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it South. Man, it's fun. Most of my stuff been South all day, and I think you kind of mentioned it in the chat too. And I want UGK Riding Dirty. You know, I think that went very under the radar. I didn't, obviously '96. I didn't really know who UGK was, so it was actually Big Pimpin' when Big Pimpin' came out.
That put you
that
on.
Kind of said, yeah, because my first one was
same for me. I never heard of them until Big Pimpin' either. Yeah.
I mean, I knew who they were.
Oh, I didn't. I did not know who they were.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I knew who they were, but I didn't know enough because internet stage was so in its infancy, so it wasn't like, okay, I want to go get this album or download this, you know. And that was kind of, and it's a gift and a curse thing, but it made me say, hey, let me check out this group. When I first heard Bun, I'm like, yo, this boy's just spitting, you know, to the point where I'm like, yo, like Jay should be nervous right now, you know, getting these dudes on the track, but. Hearing Riding Dirty, and another thing is Pimp C, underrated producer. You know, he did pretty much all the beats on the album, pretty much most of the UGK music. And I don't think he definitely never got the respect as a producer. But just hearing them together, and it's almost similar, Peanut Butter and Jelly, because you had Bun, who was a hardcore lyricist, especially when you hear his verse on Murderer, and you had Pimp C with the slick one-liners. He might not blow you away.
Murder's crazy.
Yeah, but he had the slick one line. Yeah, when I first heard Murder, I'm like, ooh. Especially when T.I. did like the breakdown. You know, I mean, I remember
that was good.
First time hearing Murder, yeah. First time hearing Murder, I'm like, man, I wish, you know, Prime Pun still alive got with Prime Bun. Because, you know, something like that where they can go back and forth or something like that, almost similar to like a super lyrical what Pun did with Black Thought. I think that would have been amazing back in the day, you know. Yeah. But just hearing that Diamonds and Wood, that's probably my favorite track from UGK. You know, this the beat, how they had like DJ Shrew on the hook, you know, and you know and you understood like the Texas culture, the wood grain, you know, and everything else. And I think you don't have the Texas, you know, surgeons, not for UGK, because Bun was kind of like that gatekeeper and Pimp. You know, when you start hearing Slim Thug, we heard Paul Wall, Chamillionaire, and everything else. When people from Texas started coming out, and the South as a whole, Bun was kind of like that gatekeeper allowing them in. Like when you heard these albums, Slim Thug and all of them, you heard Bun on their stuff. You heard Pimp on their stuff. So they were the OG solidifying these guys. They might not got the respect then, but they made, you know, the younger generation then brought them up saying, hey, we're here because of these dudes here. And that to show you the respect, you know, that they got. I mean,
it worked out well for them.
Yeah.
It worked out well in the end.
Exactly. Because without Riding Dirty, you don't have Big Pimpin'. And Jay's like, yo, I heard Big Pimpin'. I said, yo, these dudes spit. Yeah. You know what I mean? And everything. And they were unadulterated. They didn't, you know, bend over for nobody. Pimp didn't even go to the video shoot. He said,
Pimp was a little bit too much of a diva for that whole thing, man. But I'm glad that they got something captured, especially now because he's not here anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly.
So, yeah. But all right, so you know what? We're gonna go to the lightning round. All right, so we're gonna wrap it up. So
All right.
So wrap up the duo edition of this Tres Leches broadcast. Now we got whether it's a duo, a pairing wish list. All right. So if you could, wave your magic wand and have like a duo, a pairing happen, who would you pick? And I'll go first. I'll just get mine out the way. I don't think anybody's gonna pick this one.
And go away.
I really want that John Ashanti, man.
Ja Rule.
Ja Rule. Oh man, it's not murder, it's love. That's what the album's gonna be. So,
That could happen.
They should do that.
I'm surprised it ever did happen.
Yo, that could happen in 2020. Ja Rule and Ashanti album.
That's gonna be the only way they would generate interest. Honestly, I think as solos, their careers are not really there. But
I
for
want
me,
anything Ashanti. So
I say for me, my wish list would be you guys already know I love Ab-Soul. I'm an Ab-Soul stan. That's been my favorite guy from the new school. I would love an album of him, and we talked about this producer tonight, Madlib. And the reason I would wedge them together, not wedge them, but pair them together. Ab-Soul, for anybody not listening, he's on TDE. That's Kendrick Lamar's label. He's the best rapper on TDE. I will argue with anyone on that one. And what it is he's like a layered rapper. Think somebody like Lupe Fiasco who can just play with words, give you one line, and it'll mean three different things. And he does it with a certain subtlety, cleverness. Now imagine a producer who can do that with beats and samples and sound. And then you put them together in the same room, you're gonna get, like I said, this insane theater of the mind that's going to merit replay values because nothing with them is linear. There's depth to it, there's layer. So that's my choice. Ab-Soul and Madlib. I don't even. Would that be called Ab-Lib? What would they call?
that goes.
Ab-Lib.
That's the only option.
Yeah, so that's my choice. So I don't know who wants.
Or soul going mad.
Look at that. See that we gotta will this into existence. But yeah, that's my pick. What floor?
I'll spin mine off real quick. So this is like probably my favorite topic, man, because we got all a chance to kind of like think about who we pick. And my wish list would be Joey Badass, taken from one of the younger guys out here, and I will pair him with the production group of the internet. And I think that they are both abstract artists that are like way out there, but I think together they can like be out there together in a sounds. It doesn't make sense, but it's like a cohesive sound for something that's not cohesive at all. I say Joey because Joey is very different. He doesn't mind playing with like live instruments, and his vocal tones range from up and down. And I say the internet because if you guys aren't familiar with the internet, they're a soul-based band, but now they've kind of like ventured into funk, rock. The lead singer is Sid. She has her own solo album. But she's dope. I'll basically call them the electronic roots.
And they're from Odd Future, right? They were part of the Odd Future collective.
Yep, they on the Odd Future camp.
They were affiliated.
Yeah, with Tyler and all of that. When I've seen them live twice, I actually saw them together, Joey and the internet. They were like on the same bill. But like, yeah, they had that live band feel, the roots, but with that electro fusion. And I think Joey would just, man, I think he would just blend so well with them. And then you add Sid on there too, like she can sing some tracks, maybe rap.
Her voice is pleasing, man. She did a joint with Common called like Red Wine or something like that.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, she has such a pleasing voice, man.
Yeah, I would love to see them together, yo. I like both of them, solo, but they'll be a wish list for sure.
Nice.
Like that. All right, what about you, Ren? Ren's batting cleanup, even though it's just three of us, but go ahead.
It's all good. It's funny. Mine's been pretty much all Southern. Well, one part is going to be Southern, one part is not, but these dudes never got together on a track. They probably don't even know each other, but I think style-wise, because they're both rappers and they're also both producers, but I've always been interested in seeing, what Big K.R.I.T and Odyssey as a unit could do together, and they're both very versatile artists.
Both do beats too.
Exactly, and I was
that's endless. Oof.
Yeah, And I thought it almost like a trilogy set in the sense where you have a Big K.R.I.T. album all produced by Odyssey. You have an Odyssey album all produced by Big K.R.I.T. and maybe they, feature maybe 1 or 2 tracks for each of the respective album. But then the third album, them together, taking 50-50 splits onto production. Because I think you'll get everything, as far as sound wise, as far as topics, because you'll get the spiritual angles from obviously him being Muslim, K.R.I.T., from being from the Bible Belt. So you're gonna get that Black Southern Christian feel, but you'll get the 808s, you'll get some of the boom bap, you get some of the more of the mellow stuff, and Odyssey also has the band, so even if you want to get the live instruments together. So I think me, it's almost like the antithesis almost to K.R.I.T., Kendrick and Cole. Everybody like, oh, these two need to get together. And I always look at who's going to kind of on the opposite end, like, because K.R.I.T.'s always been borderline mainstream, but still stuck to the underground. And Odyssey obviously being underground, but ultra underground to some circles who don't know what he's doing. And I'm saying, this could be a real beautiful blend if there was somehow they could, connect and make some music together. So that's always been kind of my, wish list.
I love that one.
I literally think that everything we pitched, like everything we said today, could be pitched as a real idea. There's nothing that was said that's just like, in my mind, I'm like, that wouldn't happen. I think every single one of these ideas, we need to just blow up DMs and stuff, like, so that it's documented, so that we can get our 10% and not get Suge Knighted. I love all of these, man. These were dope. So
same.
All right, man. So that does it for the Duos episode. So, we're not live. So, once again, thanks for tuning in, guys. This will be up on YouTube. Well, by the time you will have seen this, you will have been watching this on the YouTube video. So, I'm still thinking live. You know what I'm saying? So, but I like this.
I want to give a shout out to Q-Tip and Fife. You know what I mean? Hey, it wasn't my fault, man. It made me do this, y'all.
We'll see in the future episode.
We were midnight marauding in the DMs, and all right. Cool. So once again, thanks for tuning in to the episode 6 of Tres Leches Radio. Again, hit us up on we are Tres Leches Radio on everything: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. Hit us up. Blow the comment section up. Did you like our selections? Did you hate it? Do you think we just don't know what the hell we're talking about? We're gonna argue back with you, okay? This is not this is not a PC, okay? So
we want the smoke.
We want the smoke, all of that. Teddy couldn't stop us today. He tried to, but we did it. And again, peace out, and we will see you guys in 2 weeks for episode 7.
Peace.
The Tres 3. Yeah.
Peace.
Yes.